Yes, we certainly can depend on them. Good morning, Lagos City. It's Roses. It's Smooth 98.1 FM. It's Business Express. I have Chinedu with me from Afrinvest. Chinedu, good morning to you, sir.
Yeah, good morning. Thanks for having me.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. First of all, before we start off, shout out to Access Bank and the SME 2020 outlook that we had yesterday. Gosh, small me, sat next to Mr. Bismarck Rewane and Taiwo Oyedele of PwC. We had a panel discussion on the outlook for SMEs. It was a fantastic discussion. And I ran into a frequent listener, Dami, and he says his lovely wife Lucy listens to us regularly. So shout out to you, Dami. Shout out to you, Lucy. It was an honor meeting you guys. I'm always so humbled when I meet folks that listen to this show. I love you all. You loyal listeners. You guys are the best. You're the ones that make this show what it is. All right, Chinedu, let's jump into things right now. I need to do a musical interlude called CBN Circulars or Circular CBN. I'm thinking about what music I'm going to use, but let me read this out. This is the latest circular that came out yesterday. Milk and dairy products importation. As part of efforts to increase local production of milk, its derivatives, and dairy products, the Central Bank of Nigeria has engaged with some companies in the industry who have keyed into the bank's backward integration program to enhance their capacity and improve local milk production. Accordingly, all authorized dealers are to note that all Form M's, that's for imports, I really they use the Form M's for imports, something like that, for the importation of milk and its derivatives shall only be allowed for the following companies: Friesland Campina Wamco, Chi Limited, TG Area Dairy Products Limited, Promasidon Nigeria Limited, Nestle Nigeria Limited, and Integrated Dairies Limited. For the avoidance of doubt, all established Form M's for the importation of milk and its derivatives for companies other than the above for which shipment has not taken place should be cancelled immediately. My God, Chinedu, I'll tell you what this thing looks like, and I'll let you explain. But to me and other people who saw this, they said the CBN is picking winners and losers, essentially. But go ahead, sir, please. What's your take on this latest circular from our darling CBN?
Well, not necessarily so.
Okay.
These are the major dairy producers in Nigeria. Friesland Wapco, that's the makers of Peak and Three Crown Milk, control roughly around 45% of the market share, while Promasido, makers of Cowbell, control around 35%, and the remaining control the remaining 20% thereabout. So that it's not necessarily about the winners and losers. These are the major producers of dairy products in Nigeria. And essentially, what this circular means is that these dairy producers have been granted waivers to get foreign exchange to import milk into Nigeria. And it's quite interesting considering that last year when the CBN introduced this import substitution policy to conserve FX in light of the dwindling foreign reserves and also indirectly compel the dairy producers to look inward and begin to backward integrate. So essentially, what this simply means is that the CBN is tacitly admitting that there are still a lot of issues in the dairy sector, in the dairy sector, and there's still a huge deficit of supply that still exists. I remember when the CBN introduced the policy last year, they had a series of stakeholder consultation with the producers, and they came out to say that they had reached some form of agreement on how it was going to be implemented. So it's likely that given the short-term deficit, especially in the supply of dairy products, this policy will help to max short-term price increase and also the short-term and 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 also the short-term pressure that we've seen in most dairy products. But essentially, it's very critical that we actually look at some of the issues that have been facing the dairy sector, and especially most of these milk producers. Last year, the Food and Agriculture Organization released a report that Nigeria produces roughly around total milk production is roughly around 500,000 tons, which is just around 40% of the total demand in Nigeria. So what that means is that the remaining 60% is still imported from foreign countries. And you look at all this and you begin to wonder what's actually wrong, because interestingly, Nigeria actually has the largest flock of livestock in West Africa.
Yep. 20, how many, is it 2 million or 20 million? What's the number? It's a large number.
Yeah,
large number of livestock.
a very significant number. But what we found out is that the yield on these cattle, the yield in terms of milk production is still very, very low.
That's because they are skinny cows. They trek all over the country.
A cattle in Nigeria produces roughly around 2 to 3 liters per day when it's lactating at around 6 liters. But when you look at counterparts in other West African countries like Kenya, a cattle produce roughly around 30 liters per day. So that's those that low yield has been one of the issues that's also been facing milk production in Nigeria.
Mm.
And so what this policy will help to do is that why the CBN is trying to curtail the pressures, the short-term pressures that milk importation has actually caused to the population, because Nigeria is home to a lot of young people,
Yes.
and making milk expensive from them could be detrimental to the productivity of your labor force. Yeah, so basically what this will help to do is that it will help to max short-term pressure that we've seen in dairy products, while also providing the platform for these firms to actually access concessionary loans and finance from the CBN to expand and backward integrate,
Mm.
which in the long run could be deemed very positive for the Nigerian economy.
Okay, so let me ask you. Okay, where is Damola's message? Okay, so Damola says, "Good morning. Why is Cadbury not among them?" Now, I'm not sure what Cadbury's capacity is for milk production. I don't even know if they even do that. But let me expand his question. You've essentially said they're looking at the six biggest companies in that space. But Chinedu, they are not the only players in that space. What if you and I are milk producers, or everybody that's sending messages now? What if all of us are milk producers? You're essentially saying that the rest of us cannot import anymore, and it's only those six. I get
No,
everything you've said. You've explained
yeah.
everything very well and articulated it very well. But they are not the only players in the sector. So what now happens to everybody else?
Okay, so basically, it's not actually an outright ban.
Okay.
This policy is not actually an outright ban on milk
Just cutting them
importation.
off from FX. So.
Yeah, it's just a way of saying that only these six producers will be granted waivers to receive forex.
And you don't see anything wrong with that.
So the other producers can
Yes,
actually
go and source
from the
from the
parallel
parallel market
the
at
parallel
higher rates. Ibrahim says, what's the FX rate for Form M related to imports? I think it's 305, the official rate, I
Yeah.
believe. Yes. Randolph, we've already answered your question. As a layman, how does allowing these companies imports help local production? Chinedu has already explained that. Backward integration, this will hopefully increase it. Let's see here. Who do we have? Victor from Ikeja. The CBN policy on dairy products will only create a favored cabal for a few companies. The so-called backward integration project will end in tears. A year from now, we will know if this policy has helped Nigeria or not. Yes, and we'll all be here, Victor. Yinka says, Abeg, apart from the ones they mentioned, can you use the Form M? Abeg, apart from the ones that they mentioned, who else can use the Form M? Okay, since the CBN has abandoned its job of monetary policies and now is the de facto Ministry of the Economy, how about they help us advise our cattle owners to think beyond beef and suya and try to keep the cows in one place so they can produce quality milk? Aruoture help, we're not mistaking local yogurt production with local milk production, because all these guys do in Nigeria is to bag imported milk. The cattle thing, Yinka, good point. They abandoned that. What was that policy? The that ranch thing.
Okay.
But there's not enough. What is it now? There's not enough land now, right?
Yeah, so that's actually been one of the issues that has been facing most of the cattle rearers. They're actually not enough land. So what you find out that we see practice what's nomadic rearing. So these cattle tend to move around.
Yeah.
Look at developed economies like the United States, where they have structured ranches where they are able to manage and control the collection of milk.
Yeah.
So they give them proper feeding, they crossbreed some of the cows to improve the yield, efficiency, and a whole lot of that. But it's not one of the issues that we had in Nigeria has been the issues of land. So you get to a place, but most of these cattle areas, when they begin to migrate and move around, they get to places and there are actually restrictions in those areas. So they're not actually able to find the right quality of fodder or food rather that will help these cows grow very well. Most of these companies actually, I know for Friesland Wamco last 2 years ago, they actually announced an expansion expansion initiative to build some model farms where they can where they are able to like model what is developed countries
are doing.
Yeah, and better manage the yield collection from these livestock.
Papike says you are working for the CBN. Papike says you're working for the CBN, defending them. Okay, Cynthia says the Form M rate is actually 326. Oh, okay. I have to check on that. I thought it was 305. Thank you. Okay, thank you, Cynthia. Oluzil, yes, the Ruga policy. Thank you for that, Oluzil. Our guests, they're analysts as well, I tell you. David says, but the policy says cancel the Form M if shipment has not been done on the Form M. How then can you import if not on the list? This is a ban. So David is arguing that it's a ban. Of course, there's an argument to be had there. Okay, who sent him? Was it Isaac? Somebody sent a message about Rotos. Did you see the post about the $20 billion in assets? I think we're talking about that. Mr. Kiari, the group managing director of the NNPC. Where is that post? He said, stop importing. Okay, here we go. Importing petroleum products must stop. NNPC has over 20 billion in assets. This is from the group managing director of the NNPC, Mele Kiari. Chinedu, what say you about his? He said we should stop. He just said we should just stop importing, as if it's we should just snap your fingers and we stop importing like that. Well, what's going on here?
Well, there's a difference between having assets and being able to efficiently utilize those assets.
Right.
So what we have in Nigeria is that we actually have the assets, the refineries, but most of them have been lying moribund and have not been able to refine as much petroleum products that is needed to satisfy local demand. So as long as that continues, we'll likely continue to see importation.
It never ends now. What is he saying? Okay, Ibrahim, thank you. Ruga, yes, thank you all. It's the Ruga policy. I forgot the name there. Thank you. Okay, Ogban says trying to encourage local production and granting foreign exchange waivers does not make sense. So people are divided. Where is Prince, our farmer? What does Prince think about this policy? Let's see here. Dakpo, okay, yes, Dakpo says it's the Ruga policy. Thank you. All right, so we move to the Echo. Chinedu, the latest on the Echo currency, Lagos. This is the latest news on the Echo. Where is that news now? They said that Nigeria asked for an extension, I believe. Yes, that's the news. That Nigeria said they want an extension on the implementation of the Echo currency that is supposed to unify a number of African countries that are supposed to benefit from this single currency. Chinedu, what do you think? Why are we asking for an extension? There we go. FG calls for ECOWAS single currency extension. That's the headline.
Yes, the FG actually asked for extension because most of the criteria that is needed to achieve the stability in this currency have not been met. I mean, this is not the first time this extension has been called for. It's been proposed since around 2012 and kept on extending. And the reason is because if you look at the criteria that were actually laid down to ensure that most